Hello, in this video we are going to go over some basics on lighting. So Maya's renderer is the Arnold renderer, and if you don't see this tab, the Arnold tab, or this drop down, you might need to go and turn it on. So if you go to Windows, Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager, and disk search. So this one's a little hard to know, so you have to do M2TOA. And make sure these are loaded and unloaded. M2TOA. Okay? So we want to be working in our, not our high poly version that we did our textures in, but in our low poly version. The reason why we're working in low poly, because we want this to be, we want our scene to be as fast as possible for animators to work with, and we can just see the high poly version during the rendering process. Okay, so let's just get just frame this up, and what we can do is click on this resolution gate to see kind of the outline of what our render will be. So let's do something like this, and let's render it out, and then there'll be a problem, and I wonder if you'll catch it. So if I go up to Arnold and go open Arnold renderer view, click that, and this should pop up. So we didn't start the render yet. I'll make this smaller, and you can hit the play, and it still is black. The reason it's black is because there is no light in your scene by default. So we need to make a scene that has some lights in it. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to minus that. There's also some rendering render views over here. I wouldn't use these. These are kind of they're not optimized for the Arnold renderer, so I would always usually use these. So render basically just renders while opening up the Arnold render view. The open Arnold render view just opens it up without starting a render. Okay, so now let's add a light. So the light that we use 90% of the time is the area light. So go to your Arnold tab and hit create on here, and then I can make it bigger. The scale of this matters. So like this, and I'll put a light that's like pointing right over here. A good trick for placing your lights is going over to panels and click on it, look through selected. Then you can point your camera around. Like what you're looking through is your light. Now I'm going to go back here to persp, and now I know exactly what that light is. You can also click on this use all lights and do the shadows. So the reason why this is not affecting your scene too much is that we need to change the settings in the area light. So let's go to the attribute editor when the light is selected, and we can try to bring up our exposure. That's a good one to do. So it starts to appear. So yeah, it comes in kind of light, so just bring up the exposure a good amount. And so now we know there's some lighting happening. And now I can go back to my Arnold render view and hit play. And then I have a lit scene. All right. Click on this. The intensity and exposure are the exposure is a more intense version of the intensity. It's like a multiplier over the intensity. So if you had a exposure of 0, it takes a lot, like you would have to dial this intensity up quite a bit to get to the point. Whereas the exposure is a multiplier, so that it's multiplying whatever your number for intensity is. Okay. There's also spread, which basically, if you play around with this, I'll bring this down, it gives a sharper kind of look to your light. It's not really affecting my viewport though, so I'll put it off to the side and see if I can put this right here so we can see it happening. Hit the play, and you'll see it's faded, and then the more and more I go, see how it's kind of like a barn door effect where it adds a border, like it takes away it fades it away. So a spread of 1 is nice and soft. And then roundness will give it a round kind of barn door effect. So if I bring this down, I think it should be more round. You can see it's going like that. And I think that is good for a intro for this. I'll see you in the next video.